Welcome to another episode of Growth Hacker TV. I'm Bronson Taylor, and today I have Neil Patel with us. Neil, thanks for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, you're a man that doesn't really need any introduction within the growth community, but go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. What are your current projects, and what are you most known for?
Sure. So, serial entrepreneur, had a ton of failures, had some that did all right. Right now, I'm focusing all my time on KISSmetrics, which is a customer analytics platform, and we help you track people. So, in other words, like if you use Google Analytics will tell you what happened to your site. KISSmetrics will show you who did it, and by doing that, you can end up getting metrics like lifetime value of customer, churn, right, true conversion rates, and you can figure out what's causing those metrics to go up into the right or down into the right. And that way, you can maximize your business. And then before KISSmetrics, I started another analytics company called CrazyEgg, which is a heat map usability company. Helps you figure out what makes things usable in it or non-usable, and so forth and so on with design elements. And before that, I did an internet marketing agency.
Perfect. And I think we'll get to kind of the later stuff in just a moment. But let's talk about the internet marketing agency maybe first, because you've had some crazy successes with that. You're known for dramatically increasing traffic to some really well-known websites. TechCrunch, they hired you to do some work for them, and you were able to, I think, help them increase traffic by 30% for some period of time there. GM, you helped them go up 300% over, I think, a 6-month period. I want this interview to provide as much value as humanly possible to our viewers. So I want to dig in a little bit to how. How do you get those kind of numbers? Because these aren't sites that weren't already optimized. These weren't sites that were doing everything wrong. These were well-known sites ran by tech people, and yet you came in with your crew and were able just to drive growth in some pretty remarkable ways. So when you come into a new client, right, day one, they hire you, you feel like they're a good fit for you, and vice versa, you decide to take them on. What do you do on day one when you show up at TechCrunch? What happens?
Yeah, it varies site by site, but let's use TechCrunch for example.
Okay.
So what we do is you find out what's causing them to get more traffic and users and what's not. And then we started looking for patterns. Where is it coming from? What can we leverage? So one of the things was we noticed that a lot of their traffic was coming from social sites. Then by tracking certain elements, that we're like, all right, what social sites are they pushing on their sites? They have a ton of social media buttons like that. What are users clicking on? Well, all right, here's where we're driving the users. They're clicking on all these other ones like Newsvine or whatever it may be. They're not driving traffic, right? Back then, some of those social sites were popular. So like, let's remove those and let's focus on the ones that actually cause traffic. And not just traffic, but repeat users. So doing things like that helped us consistently grow TechCrunch. And they're like, all right, we're getting more a lot of search traffic, but why aren't we getting more search traffic? So we're figuring out, oh, there's issues with the site, a lot of duplicate content and stuff like that. So we started fixing all those kind of things. And then we started using their properties and cross-promoting. Oh, you have X users on Crunchbase and X users on TechCrunch and X users on CrunchGear. Why not cross-promote and have some of those sites help boost users to TechCrunch and TechCrunch to vice versa, right? So doing a lot of those tactics really helped us grow.
Yeah, and what's interesting as you say that is it doesn't sound as complicated as what I expected, to be honest. I was expecting like crazy, like unknown SEO magic, and instead it's looking at the kind of the playing field, coming up with a wise, almost obvious strategy, and then just implementing it. I mean, is that fair to say?
Yep.
Is that the way a lot of growth is? It's just someone taking the time to figure it out, but it's not that hard sometimes?
I would say that's how it is because most people don't realize that growth isn't... Don't get me wrong, it is hard to grow, right? Sometimes it's not like simple as, hey, give me more users or whatever it may be, and you end up getting them to your site. But the thing is like it's the common things that people don't look at, such as like with CrazyEgg. I remember back in the day, we were doing something in which instead of just like, all right, we want new users. Well, we have a free trial. How many users aren't actually bored with the trial? Like how many are actually canceling? So we would start doing things like saying, why are they canceling? How can we solve that? here are all the users that are staying. How can we get more of the users? Well, maybe they know some of them. Maybe we can get them to tweet about it, refer their friends, all those kind of things. Hey, there's other platforms out there like hosting companies. Maybe we can integrate with them and try to get some of their user bases over to ours because they already have millions of customers, right? So it's just trying to figure out unique ways to grow. Some of it's related to products, some of it's related to marketing, some of it's related to business development. You just got to get creative, and it's the creative part where people get stuck on. It's not complicated stuff, it's just you have to be creative.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me ask you this, because you go into a company like TechCrunch and you see that there's still a lot of growth potential. But if they had you come back today, you've already optimized, you've already done what you need to do. When do you know you've reached kind of a plateau? Like, look, we've done what we can do. We're done here. Is there always room to go 10% more if you're willing to be that much more creative and put in that much more time? Or is there kind of a ceiling to this stuff eventually?
There usually is more room to get creative. It's just harder and harder to find those ways to get 10% more. You can either stop, or sometimes you may have a dry spell for a long time and then be able to come up with some new ideas. Like with KISSmetrics, even though like we know a lot about A/B testing, we have A/B testing in our product, we went a few months without doing A/B testing on our main site. It was just like we didn't have the time, we didn't have the resources. Me and my co-founder were like trying to come up with some more ideas, but we're like, there's other areas that we can impact more. So what we did is we took a 3+ month break. Now we're back at it, and then we had some failed tests, but within a 2-month period of time, our first test boosted sign-up conversion rates on our homepage by 30-something%, and our second test that did well did have like a 40+% increase on top of the previous ones, right? So it starts compounding at that point.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just got to give it a break and then come back. But where I get a lot of my inspiration from is just talking to other entrepreneurs and seeing what they're doing. And sometimes they'll tell you about something random and you're like, oh crap, if I implement it on my product, even though it has nothing to do, and tweak this strategy, I wonder if I can get better results.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm doing these interviews, because I want people to come here and learn from all these different people and just cross-pollinate, figure out what's working. It might apply, it might not, but the exchange of ideas is so powerful because so much of it really is creativity and just having someone spark an idea in you that you just wouldn't have thought of in your own world. So I really like that. Let me ask you this. When you go in and you do those consulting gigs, are there any tools that are just kind of always in your tool bag? Are there any like apps that you use habitually? Any plugins you use habitually? Like what is in your kind of tool chest that you can share and say, look, I get this, I use that, and I use those all the time? Is there anything like that? Or is it just always random every job?
It's random. That I don't have like a tool belt where I just say I use this and that, but it varies a lot.
Yeah, it comes back to the creativity part, right?
Yeah, a lot of stuff is custom, and with good engineers and product people, right, you can end up getting a lot of that custom stuff implemented.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned already that you are involved in a couple products, well-known analytic products. Let's start with CrazyEgg. You told us briefly it's a heat map, but there's other heat map products. I mean, that's not the exciting part only of CrazyEgg. So tell us more. What does CrazyEgg really do that's exciting, and who should be using it if they're not already?
Sure. So anyone who's trying to improve the usability of their website or boost their conversions, right? So any marketer, designer, entrepreneur. So here's an example. Let's say you're a business and you have a website and you're selling mortgages or cars online or let's say cell phones. That's an easy one. Popping CrazyEgg on the site will tell you who's clicking where, right? Who's not clicking, how far are they scrolling down on your page? Are people clicking on things that aren't links but should be links? Because then you can end up figuring out there's usability issues. Right? If you have all your call to actions at the bottom of the page, but you found out from our scroll heat map that people don't scroll too much, and it tells you where the majority of the people cut off, then you know you should try putting your call to action higher up. Like testing all of those things with CrazyEgg is really useful. It can pinpoint each user and show you, like, break it down by refer, search term, browser, like any metric you want, campaign variables, and it can show you all those people and how they engage differently with other people, so you can see if there's patterns and if you should show them a different design versus other people. But it just ends up giving you a ton of ideas and ways to improve your design, right? And we're releasing more stuff in which you'll soon be able to see heat maps on how mobile users, so if someone's coming from a tablet or a mobile device, it'll show you how they're interacting versus other people and so forth and so on.
Yeah, so it is fair to say that it's a little more than just heat maps the way people sometimes think about them. You've really taken it and put it on steroids, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It's quite a bit more than heat maps, but heat maps is the easy way to describe it.
When you hear that, it's like it does so much more. There's so much, kind of under the thing there. So after CrazyEgg, you co-founded KISSmetrics, and you mentioned that earlier. Let's dive into that a little more. It seems like KISSmetrics is really where you're putting the lion's share of your time right now. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's pretty much all my time. So
Yeah.
I blog and stuff like that for fun, but I pretty much spend all my time on KISSmetrics.
All right, so dig into it more. Like, tell us what it really does under the hood. Who's using it? Why are they using it? And I know you've already told us that it's more than Google Analytics, but dive into that. Tell us, like, make the case for why we need KISSmetrics and Google Analytics just doesn't cut it.
So Google Analytics is a great tool. I use it myself.
Okay.
But Google Analytics tells you things like visits, page views, bounce rates, a lot of vanity metrics.
Mm-hmm.
It can tell you things like your lifetime value of a customer. If you know your lifetime value is $500, right, and they make multiple purchases and not just one purchase, or your subscription stays forever, you can spend more on advertising to get more customers because it's profitable, even if you lose money in the short run.
Uh-huh.
But you can't find out that information with Google Analytics. Or it can't tell you why people are churning and how bad your churn is and what's causing it, right?
Yeah.
It also can't show you cohort reports, such as, hey, you changed this. How do people interact with this new user experience? You know, all the people who came on board after the new design, after the new design versus all the people who interacted with the old user experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it does things like that, and those metrics, unless you're using a tool like KISSmetrics, because it focuses on helping you improve your bottom line. We take out the vanity metrics. We're saying if you want them, go use Google.
Uh-huh.
If you want to track the numbers that really help you boost your bottom line, right,
Yeah.
then use KISSmetrics. Like if you want to end up predicting what's going to cause a user to cancel before they even cancel, KISSmetrics can help you determine that. That way you can figure out how to get them re-engaged so that way they don't cancel your subscription or whatever it may be.
Yeah. Now, KISSmetrics is really popular in the startup community. Do you see a lot of bigger brands, more established businesses using KISSmetrics also?
That is actually the majority of our customer base.
Really?
So startups, it's big brands.
Yeah, that's great. So now here's something interesting. As the creator of KISSmetrics, tell us about some of the features that are lesser known. What are some things that you just think, man, why aren't people talking about this more? It does this awesome thing that nobody knows about or cares about, and yet I know it's the secret sauce that they should be using. Tell us some of those features.
So I can sum it up in one feature. This is my favorite feature, but no one really uses it. It's called a Power Report. The Power Report can slice and dice your data any way you want. So you can say, show me all the people that clicked, share the Twitter button that then ended up coming back to the site and then ended up purchasing after there, right? Like you can end up seeing all of those things and slice and dice it. Show me all the people within this customer segment that are about to cancel and have used the product and logged in within the last week. So they're about to cancel because they're not doing something that the system automatically detects causes long-term engagement, but it's, they're still active customers, right? So it can like slice and dice your data in any way you imagine. You can ask it almost any question and it can spit out the answer for it, right? A lot of computing power there, a lot of costs on our end for that feature, but that's what actually helps businesses grow their bottom line. Like you can imagine anything, like show me all the people who added something to their cart and we have their email address and they didn't complete it and they came back to the website and they looked at the same item again, they looked at their cart and they still didn't complete it even though we emailed them, right, to come back and repurchase. And they can show you, here's all the people that you emailed and they came back, they still looked at the cart but they didn't purchase. And then, like, hey, we're not going to get them back. Maybe we should email them a coupon code or something, right? Like, you can slice and dice data whatever you want and make it actionable so you can make more money.
Yeah. So why don't people know about it or use it more or talk about it? Is it just buried or, like, what's the deal?
It's not buried. I have no clue. If I knew how to solve that problem, I'd be really happy. But we're working on solving that problem.
All right, well, hopefully people watch this interview and they'll go use that feature, especially if you're promoting the feature, they know it's got to be good. Hopefully they'll start using it once they see this. Let me ask you this. What features are on the horizon? What do you want to implement that's just not quite there yet, but it's going to be so good once you get that in place? Anything you can reveal, or is it all top secret?
Yeah, we don't reveal much. We are releasing a new app. We already have a KISSmetrics app, but this is a new app called My Analytics. It actually takes your Google Analytics data, pops it on your phone, makes it really usable, and actually makes it more actionable, and change how you actually look at your Google Analytics reports on a daily basis.
Yeah, let me know when it's out so I can use it.
If you email me, I can email you a link and you can use it on your iPhone. So.
That's perfect. I'll do that. So let's now talk about the marketing of KISSmetrics itself. It helps so many other companies market, but at the same time, it's a product itself that has to be marketed, right? So it's kind of meta here for a second. So let's go into the meta. What channels have been most successful in growing the user base of KISSmetrics? Are you using pay-per-click? Are you blogging, doing inbound stuff? Like, what are you actually doing to grow the platform?
All inbound.
All inbound.
Yep, no paid. All inbound. Social media, content marketing, SEO, all inbound.
All right. Talk to us about inbound, because I think you might be the master of inbound marketing if there ever was one. I look at QuickSprout, I look at the blog for KISSmetrics. I mean, these are industry standard. This is what gold looks like if you're trying to do inbound marketing. What do you know about inbound marketing you can share with us to just help us level up?
Yeah, it's all about writing really, really, really good content. That's all it is. And better the content than most people are writing. If you can do that, you'll kill it.
How do you write good content? Are you hiring people? Are you just spending insane amounts of time yourself? Because good content's hard. There's no shortcut to good content. How are you getting it?
Bit of both. So we first started with us blogging, and we would just blog really detailed blog posts that are like 2,000 words that break down specific tactics, tips, and information. And people are like, oh shit, this is so good. Who are these guys? And they're just like, oh, it's KISSmetrics. Keep reading their content. Well, let's check out what they do, because if their content's this good, I wonder how good their product is. That's our model with inbound marketing. And then from there, we try to get writers, and a lot of people submit to do guest posts, but it's hard to find really good writers as well. And we have to, even after we get writers submitting content, we have to edit a lot of their stuff, bring it up to our standards, and then publish it.
Yeah. Do you have full-time people writing for you, or is it all guest post? How does it break down the actual logistics of it?
So I write sometimes. My business partner writes sometimes. We have a few guys internally that write, that are part of marketing or product and stuff like that. And then we have one person, Sean, who's awesome. He manages the blogging. He's helped make it what it is today.
Yeah, that's great. Are there any other channels that you think you will explore in the future? I mean, inbound works, and you love social, you love inbound. Do you think there'll come a point where you're like, all right, let me just dump a bunch of money into ads and see what happens? Or is that just like not in your ethos?
No. We've even tested ads, and they actually work, and it's profitable, but we already get enough leads inbound that we don't have enough sales reps to handle all the leads, so what's the point of spending money on advertising when you already have enough leads coming in?
Yeah, now we're all jealous of you, because that's a problem we all wish we had, that our team can't handle the influx of inbound leads. That's great. So maybe in the future you'll grow the team and then do a little bit of both possibly. All right, let's talk about you for a moment, right? Give you a chance to kind of give back to the community for a second here. You've obviously had a lot of success in the products you've created. Like you said at the beginning, you failed a lot, but you failed a lot and eventually succeeded a good amount as well. What were some of the pivotal, or maybe the most pivotal learning experience in your life that allowed you to understand growth at the depth that you do? What was the experience that just light bulbs went off and it put you on the right path to kind of get it?
There really was no path or anything. It was just all from learn how to execute really fast, create minimal viable products, use data to learn from your experiences, and keep iterating. That's all it is. Like, it's just a lot of hard work and iterations and making decisions based off the data versus using my gut.
Yeah, that's great. What's the best advice you can give to somebody watching this interview? They want to understand startup growth. What do you tell them to do? What's advice for them?
If you're not tracking your data and you don't understand what's causing users to sign up or churn or any of that, it's going to be hard to grow. It's like driving a car with a blindfold on, right? You may know how to drive, but if you can't look and see and have the visibility, how will you know where to go? It's the same thing with growing your business. If you don't have visibility, EX analytics, doesn't even have to be KISSmetrics. Use whatever you want. Just use something to help you understand what's causing you to get customers versus what's causing you to lose customers and all that kind of stuff. So that way you can go out there and maximize your revenue and your growth.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned, whatever you use, whether it's KISSmetrics or not. Let me bring up one other company, Mixpanel, right? A lot of people use a Mixpanel. Let me give you a moment to kind of differentiate yourself. What do they do? What do you do? Should companies use both? Should they pick one? How do you see that landscape? Because I'm sure you see it probably better than most.
Yeah, so they're going heavily after the mobile crowd. We work well with mobile as well. Like, they'll do like a lot of mobile apps, social games, stuff like that. So they're in like social gaming space. A majority of our customer base is software as a service and e-commerce by far. Yeah. So it's kind of like picking customers. They're also freemium. We're not freemium. We're trying to go upstream. think of it this way. I see them as like they could be like a Dropbox, going for that low-end customer and just getting a ton of them, right? Not a bad company. It's great. We're trying to be more like the Box.net and go after the big companies with big budgets. Neither models are bad. Both of those companies are successful. Both of them are valued over $1 billion, right? Yeah. I don't think Mixpanel or us are valued at $1 billion right now, but we're in a great space. It's very early. It doesn't matter who you pick. Just go out there and try to improve your business. That's all. That's my only goal of this.
No, that's great. And it seems like you like those high margins, fewer customer kinds of businesses. With your consulting, that's what you did. You weren't the SEO guy that you worked with 100 companies a year. You worked with a couple companies a year. Same thing with KISSmetrics. You're okay with less users with a higher margin. You said that both models work and are good, but you gravitate toward this one. Why is that? Why do you like this model?
I just know it better. So you tend to gravitate towards things that you know better and you're better at executing at. Yeah. I suck at executing at the model of give me 100,000 customers. It's just not in my DNA. So why try to fight it? I really love the enterprise, big customers, big contract type of businesses. So why not go for that?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last question. What resources can you recommend to us? Are there certain books that have been pivotal, blogs that you look at, besides your own, obviously, podcast? What should someone who wants to imitate you and learn from the same kind of sources that you're learning from, what content are you consuming?
My blog, blog.KISSmetrics, my personal blog, clicksprout.com, the CrazyEgg blog for a lot of conversion data, so blog.crazyegg.com. SEOmoz.org has a great blog. Search Engine Land has a great blog on just internet marketing. Let's see. Eric Ries has a great blog. Lean Startup Rate. A lot of development stuff is actually how you actually grow product and customer base. It's not all marketing and just acquiring customers. A lot of it actually has to do with product. But having the MVP philosophy is great. Startup Marketing by Sean Ellis is another good blog. So I would just check out those resources to start off with.
Yeah, those are great resources. Well, Neil, this has been an incredible interview. We're so grateful that you took a few moments out of your busy schedule to come and just share your immense knowledge with our community. So thank you so much, Neil.
Sounds good. Take care and have a good one.
You too.